knows, Deflategate is still on a whole lot of people's minds, and we saw how Tom Brady handled that particular situation, how Mr. Kraft handled that particular situation, how Bill Belichick handled that particular situation. I can't wait to get into that conversation. Plus, my final take will be a little bit interesting in that regard.
A lot of people tweeting at me about Tom Brady and the cliff. And it seems to me that people have a problem either comprehending things or don't understand what a cliff is. But we're going to get into that a little later.
So you're going to explain?
I cannot wait.
I can't wait either. I can't wait to talk about the
I got my dictionary ready.
Perfect.
Looking up the definition of a cliff.
Perfect. And I have a thesaurus in case we need that too.
We don't know what a cliff is.
Yeah.
So I got it. I'm ready.
We'll break it down for us. All right, let's get into it, gentlemen. So the Falcons blew the biggest lead in Super Bowl history, leading 28-3 with 2 minutes left in the third. They were outscored 31-0 the rest of the way. This pretty much can't get any worse, unless, of course, you're the Seahawks, who made arguably the worst call in Super Bowl history, not handing the ball off to beast mode, costing Seattle the chip 2 years ago. So these are the type of games, the players tell us, that you never get over. I think as fans, you don't either. But which one stings more, really, is the question. Stephen A., who had the worst loss to the Pats? Would you say it's Seattle or the Falcons last night?
I'm going to say it's the Seattle Seahawks. I don't give a damn what happened yesterday. I don't care that
even with the comeback.
That's right. I don't care. I don't.
Molly,
care.
leave that one to me, please.
Okay. Sorry,
I don't care.
Flabbergasted.
I don't care. Yeah, you had a 25-point lead, but you looked like a deer in headlights when it counted most. I'm thinking about a situation when you're the Seattle Seahawks. All right, you got beast mode who showed up in that fourth quarter. You got that terrific acrobatic catch. I believe it was by Curse, if I remember correctly. Back in just a couple of plays earlier. You've got beast mode, Marshawn Lynch running from the 5-yard line to the half-yard line. You're a half-yard away from a Super Bowl title, and you blow it. You blow it. Last night, when I looked at the Atlanta Falcons, even though you were up 25 points, as New England gained that momentum, I saw the deer in headlights. I saw them get a little frightful. I saw the greatness of Tom Brady just ooze, just easing up on everybody. It got to a point where literally, even when New England was down 28-20, everybody was like, don't let Brady get this ball back. Don't let him get this ball back because it's going to get tired, all of this other stuff. And so suddenly now you're panicking because your defense, which got away with got disguised by subpar competition the previous 6 weeks, suddenly found yourself up against the man and said, oh, damn, what did we get ourselves into now? That was not the case with Seattle 2 years ago. 2 years ago, you are at the half-yard line. And I'll put it to you this way. We can use a boxing analogy because I know how much that touches you. Remember Julio Cesar Chavez. You remember Mildred Taylor. Richard Steele, right? 2 seconds left and counting them out for crying out loud. To be that close and then to blow it like that. That's entirely different than a quarter or a quarter and a half.
Okay.
That's what I look at.
I cannot believe how wrong you got this one. It is so clearly and by so much the Falcons. This has to hurt so much worse for so many different reasons. I don't know where to begin, but I'll start with this. Seattle already won a Super Bowl in this era with this coach and this quarterback. They're a perennial powerhouse. They're consistently making runs in the playoffs. In fact, in the NFC, they're the closest thing the NFC has in recent years to the Patriots in the AFC. Yeah. It's the closest thing the NFC has. Great coach, great quarterback, Legion of Boom. It's really largely the same team that had already won a Super Bowl. Secondly, Seattle was attempting a comeback, so they didn't complete the comeback. That is so much different. Look, we all acknowledge that last night, was the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Well, in order for that to be true, you need the greatest collapse in Super Bowl history. The greatest collapse in Super Bowl history for not only a franchise that's never won, but for a city in Atlanta that has, across all major sports, a grand total of 1 championship by the Atlanta Braves. And by the way, even then, the Braves made a record consecutive appearances. What was it, 14 straight years in the playoffs? So it's not like they got it in it once or twice and they won one. They were in it every single year, usually considered the best team in baseball. Only 1 championship, and that's the only championship in the city. So how does it not hurt worse when you have the most epic collapse? And then it comes down to the play calling when you're in field goal range. Will, how did he get it this wrong?
Will, can you break the tie, please?
I just want to let y'all speak.
I need you to break the
this
tie. Yeah.
I feel like our relationship has taken a little turn for the negative over the last few weeks. It's become a little too antagonistic. I've been disagreeing with you entirely too much. I'm so pleased to turn my wrath, my attention to this man. How could you be so wrong? The difference is between walking into a bear trap and being involved in a slow motion accident. What happened to the Falcons had so many opportunities not to happen. Granted, both hurt terribly. But with the Falcons, it's not a boxing analogy, Stephen A. It's this. With the Seahawks, you fell off a building when you were walking on the ledge, and everybody looked at it and goes, why were you walking on the ledge? Give it to beast mode. You didn't have to fall off the building. But with the Falcons, it was falling off the building after tripping, catching yourself, pulling yourself back up, tripping again, catching yourself again, stumbling. So many opportunities to learn the lesson. Get off the ledge before you fall. The Falcons made the same mistake over and over. You guys have highlighted it today. Starting with 3rd and 1, choosing not to run, allowing a strip sack, choosing not to run, and with 4 minutes to go, they ran the first one, so 2 consecutive times after that. The Super Bowl trophy is in your grasp. Run, milk the clock, kick a field goal. At that point, an under 40-yard field goal, which I believe Matt Bryant is something close to 100% on connecting on. 11 points up with 3 minutes to go, you win the game. As you point out, your long storied history of heartache Atlanta is over if you can simply learn a simple lesson. Run the ball. You don't have to make these mistakes. And yet, they did. Over and over and over. That hurts much, much worse than one big, bad oops.
You know, agreeing with Max ain't going to help your case. I mean, he gets beat up every day. We understand this.
What world do you live in?
I live in my world.
Must be such a happy place.
I live in my world, and it's a very happy place. Let me tell y'all something right now. Y'all keep forgetting the operative word, which was expectations. Coming into this game, when everyone talked about the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons, whether you picked Atlanta to win or lose, most people outside of a TJ Ward or a T.I. basically had the New England Patriots scoring about 30. They might have had Atlanta scoring a little bit more, but the expectation was that New England's offense was going to get theirs, but you were not going to stop Atlanta's offense. So even when New England was struggling, somehow, some way you looked shell-shocked because it was like, wait a minute, we're not surprised that Atlanta scored 28. Mm-hmm. We are shocked that Tom Brady threw a pick 6. We are surprised that they're down 28-3. We are more shocked that we weren't shocked by the 28 points by Atlanta.
No, it
was the 3 from New England along with the mistakes. What I'm saying to you is that somehow, some way, you expected them to get off. The difference was it was probably going to be too late because who was going to stop Atlanta? In the case of Seattle 2 years ago, you're literally standing there saying, they're going to lose this damn Super Bowl. It's the obvious call to make, and it's the stupidest call. I don't care what Donovan McNabb says. I don't care what Tim Hasselbeck says. I don't care what any NFL analyst says.
Same call won Clemson the national title against Alabama.
The stupidest call. Don't give me college. We talking about the Super Bowl.
But it worked then, so that call works
Don't give me college, okay? Don't give me kids. I don't want kids, all right? I'm talking about the NFL. The hell you bringing me up kids for? This is the Super Bowl, a man's game. You are at the half-yard line. Beast mode is your running back.
Giving it to beast
mode. And you decide. And by the way, not only that, but it left with these questions. Did it happen because Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks did not want Marshawn Lynch to be the hero?
Oh, get out.
No. I'm just saying people ask that question.
I'm just saying it's what people say when they said something ridiculous. I'm just saying.
I'm saying, but you have to admit a lot of people were saying that afterwards. They were like, he didn't want beast mode to be the hero.
Were they winning or losing the game at the time? They were winning or losing the game?
They were obviously losing.
They were losing the game. The Falcons were already up 8 points. If you kick a field goal, you got to score. You got to have the 2-point conversion. You have to recover an onside kick. You have to score again.
You have won. You're telling me what hurts more. I'm saying to you that if you're Seattle, the Super Bowl championship was yours at the half-yard line. If you're Atlanta, you're staving off an onslaught. Brady's coming. Oh, my God, what are we going to do? That's the difference.
You brought up expectations, which was a really fatal flaw in your argument because
I don't have flaws in my arguments, but go ahead.
That's why I'm here to help you with this. I'm here to help you with your lack of self-awareness.
Well, you know what? I'm going to always
I'm like
have
a shrink in that way.
I'm the best, baby. I'm the best.
By the way, that's the most self-aware thing you've ever said.
All right.
The win probability, according to ESPN, at one point in time of that game was 99.5%.
Okay, guys.
You brought up expectations. That, my friend, is some sense
You
of
kick a field goal, it goes to 99.99. You need like Ali G to tell you how.
We got to leave it there.